Is this 10,000 passenger cruise ship your worst nightmare or dream vacation? Because depending on who you ask, this thing is either a floating paradise packed with incredible features and endless things to do, or a chaotic, overcrowded nightmare you'll want to escape from day one. We've read the reviews so you don't have to, and today we're taking you on board to see exactly who's right. Well, ahoy there, cruisers, and yes, welcome back. The biggest cruise ship in the world. 7,000 passengers, almost 3,000 crew, 10,000 people on board one ship. Carnival have just announced a ship that's going to hold 8,000 passengers. Is it getting too big? Well, we've just spent 6 nights on board this ship, and it doesn't look like it's all cookies and caviar, because we've been doing a little bit of research and there's loads of complaints about some specific things when it comes to big ships like this and the Star of the Seas, the Icon of the Seas, and other big ships. So we're going to do a little bit of investigative journalism, look into those problems and see if they have any truth. So come join us.
The biggest complaint about this ship online by far is that it's just way too big, way too crowded. There is too many people on this floating vessel. So what's the reality? We're going to bust these myths. Are they true or are they not? First up, let's look at the venues. In our experience, yes, some of the venues are too small for this size of ship, especially the more popular venues and during show times. Our personal favourite is Julian Pianos. We absolutely love the show in there, but many times it's way too busy, way too packed out, and you're not going to get a seat unless you arrive really early. But in contrast to that, some of the other venues are massive. If you want to go and see a show in the main theatre, that theatre is huge. With a little bit of a caveat, you do need to book, and that is our biggest thing that we need to tell you, because you need to book as much as you can before you come on the cruise, and that way you're not going to miss out. Things like the main theatre show on this ship, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or the ice show, or the aqua show. Make sure you book them, and if you book them, you're going to get a spot. It's all about using your time wisely and planning, because if you're coming on these big ships, you do need to plan, and that might not be for everybody. That could be a nightmare for you. You might just want to come on board and not plan anything. Well, you need to on this ship. Now, some of the dining venues, are they too busy and way too crowded? Sometimes it does get busy in some of the more popular areas, and especially at certain times of the day. If you're heading to the buffet during breakfast or to the Pearl Cafe to get a coffee during breakfast, it is busy and you do expect lines. That is what we've seen on this cruise. So what we tend to do is shift our times a little bit. We avoid the buffet at the peak times. We go to the Pearl Cafe a little bit later during the day, or go to one of the other venues around the ship. You've got to get into the flow, finding when it's busy, and just go around those times. Otherwise, you will see big lines and lots of crowds.
Yeah, so the Royal Caribbean app is definitely your friend, and it's not even about the app. Even before you get on the cruise, a few weeks or months before your cruise, they will open bookings on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Planner. This is basically on the Royal Caribbean website. You log in using your account, or you can log in using your booking reference and your surname, I think it is, and you can go on there and book everything you want to. So all of the shows, any dining you want to do, lots of the dining on board the cruise ship is sold out way before the cruise. Things like the Royal Railway on this ship and the Hollywood Supper Club, completely sold out. We were told over 300 people were on the cancellation wait list to get a spot in one of those restaurants. So if you do want to eat somewhere, just book it beforehand and you'll be completely fine. In fact, you often get discounts when you book before on the cruise planner, and we always recommend constantly checking the cruise planner every few weeks, because those discounts do change, and if the prices are reduced, you are able to cancel on the cruise planner and rebook them at the lower price, and you'll get a refund for that first payment that you made, which is our top tip as well. But when you're on board, definitely use that Royal Caribbean app. It's one of the best apps in the business. Lots of the apps on lots of cruise lines are really bad, but Royal Caribbean definitely does work, and it is your friend on board just to see what's going on, have a look at your reservations and anything else you might want to book that you forgot about.
So what about people soup in the pool? Well, we do agree with that a little bit at times. The outdoor decks do get very busy during the days, particularly on sea days and later in the afternoon on port days. Now, the actual sunbathing beds, we've never had an issue finding a sunbed. There's always been plenty of sunbeds. Don't forget there is other areas around the ship. There's lots of different decks where you can sunbathe. So there is spaces where you can find some space, but the more popular pools, they are very busy and you are not going to avoid the crowds there at all. There is areas areas as well, like the Hideaway, which may sound a little quieter, but they're actually really popular. We've found sometimes the adults only areas can be even more jam-packed than the family areas at times.
So in our experience, yes, it is very difficult in the middle of a day, especially on a sea day, to get space in the pools, or pools that don't look like literal soup with lots of sun lotion and things in them. And it's almost impossible to find a hot tub as well. They are crammed with kids on our cruise, guys. It's been crazy. Our top tip is basically either stay on during a port that you've already visited, because the pools are considerably quieter, so much more relaxed, loads of room in the hot tubs, or maybe go earlier in the morning on a port day, spend some time in the pool and get off a little bit later, because it does tend to be a bit quieter. We also like coming at sunset as well, because we also find it a little bit quieter. But one of the beautiful things about this ship is that it is so big. There are so many different pools, so many different areas, and it has been one of the few ships where we really haven't had problems finding sunbeds. Like David said, that is a massive problem on a lot of cruise ships, but not on this one. It is just lovely how many different sections and areas there are, and you'll find your favorite one really quickly and probably stick to that for the rest of your cruise. And if you want to know exactly what the ship looks like, we're on a port day about an hour before all aboard time, and as you can see, it is quite quiet. Loads and loads of seats. There are a few people in the hot tub just there. I don't really want to go close up to show their faces, but yeah, there's lots of space, there's lots of areas to chill and relax, which is fabulous. But I want to show you one more thing up here. But yeah, look at it. Isn't it magnificent? What a feat of engineering, eh? The more we spend time on these ships, the more impressed we are with just how incredible they are. One big complaint that we saw as well was the problem of kids pooping in the pools and being evacuated. Now, this genuinely isn't something that we've seen on any of our Icon class cruises. This can happen on any cruise. So that might be a top tip, to stick to one of the adults only pools. Maybe the swim and tonic, but we have to say it as well. People spend a lot of time in there constantly drinking, and we don't see them getting out. So I don't know where that wee-wee's going. I'm not sure if people are actually using the restrooms. I don't know if I'd trust that either. But yeah, maybe stay out of the pools that are focused for kids. What's fantastic and I really like about this ship, and it's one area that we don't really use at all, is Surfside, because that whole area is designed for the little kids, which is fantastic. So toddlers and small children. So there's a big play area there where they can enjoy all of the slides and splashing, and there's loads of places for snacks and food. They also have unique things going on there, like kids entertainment, which is really good. And do you know what that means? It means that the kids and the young families are kind of separated and popped into that little area down there and taken care of, while the rest of the ship gets a little bit of a break. Now, we love kids, guys, but we don't want 10,000 kids screaming in our ears all of the time. And to be honest, even on our cruise, there's a lot of kids on board. We're in Europe and it's the summer holidays here in Europe. It hasn't been too bad, and they've been pretty well behaved apart from one or two kids, so it hasn't really been an issue because they stick to their areas and we stick to ours. That's the beauty of it being such a big ship.
As you know, Ben refuses to pack or unpack.
Just to get your lovely husband to do it.
So I'm going to take this one. Now, one of the most common complaints that people have about ships, and Legend of the Seas is no exception, is packing. You've got to bring daytime outfits, nighttime outfits, even swimwear.
Really, David?
Top tip I always give is to use vacuum bags to give yourself more space and fit more in your suitcase. And on this trip, Exeter asked us if we'd try their new Diary of a CEO vacuum kit. It's a limited edition collaboration between Exeter and Stephen Bartlett from the Diary of a CEO. They've added a centralised valve for completely even compression and a brand new side zip, which makes packing and repacking easier, even in a tiny cabin. It compresses your clothes up to 60%, and as you know, every percent counts on a cruise. It also comes with a super handy little vacuum, which is great for when you're repacking. Best of all, it has 0 leaks, so it'll stay flat for your whole trip. And if you're not completely satisfied, they have a 100-day money-back guarantee. We've got an offer code for you. If you just scan the QR code here, or you can click the link in our description section below, and you use our code CRUISE at the checkout, you can get 10% off the brand new Diary of a CEO vacuum bag, plus an extra 10% off any other extra product. And you can stack that on any existing offers that are going on the website. If you saw last week's episode, we are staying in a suite, so you do have a separate private sunbathing area. That is an option if you are a big sunbather and you really do want your own space. So whilst we don't really recommend a suite on this ship, like we mentioned, we don't think it's the best value for money and you can get better value elsewhere. That is an option for you. But honestly, there's lots and lots of little nooks and crannies and little spaces for you to find So you can find them around the ship. You don't have to be paying those sweet prices.
Yes, so another complaint is that the water slides get very, very busy. I mean, it's a full-on water park on board with 6 water slides, so indeed, it does get busy. But we've never seen queues that bad, guys, no different to anywhere else. And again, it's about choosing your times wisely. If you're going to come in the middle of the day on a sea day, it's going to be rammed. It's going to be rammed to the peaks with long lines. But if you choose to come earlier in the morning or on a port day, there is going to be no waits for any of this. But you might hear something in the background. Let's talk about that next. Okay, David, go. David, go.
What?
Go.
What?
Go.
So, the noise problems. Yes, it's a big, loud, noisy ship. There's certain areas, particularly like around the water park, around the pool, that their music is absolutely blasting out. And it can get a little bit annoying and a little bit aggressive at times. Aggressive? Is that the right word? The music doesn't get aggressive. It's not going to start a fight with me.
But look, it's a fun ship. It really is. So the music is a little bit loud here and there, but it's not overly bad, guys. Maybe it's just because we're getting a little bit old and we don't like pounding loud music anymore, which is a bit of a lie because I do really like music, but it is overly aggressive in some places. I do wish they would calm it down just a tad. I sound so old, don't I? So I semi-agree with it and don't agree with it, but there is one thing that I definitely agree with lots of the noise complaints with other people. Let's go down and take a look, shall we? I feel like Inspector Gadget or Puro or what's the lady from Murder, She Wrote called? We're like investigative journalists, guys. This is hard-hitting stuff. We hope you're enjoying this. Dateline with Ben and David. I don't even know what the documentaries are called. You know what I mean. What's she called? Angela Lansbury. I used to love that show, David. What's she called? Does she have a name? Miss Marple? No, that's somebody else, isn't it? So yeah, welcome back to the Royal Promenade. Yeah, this is definitely one of the noisiest places on the ship. And there's one thing that I do agree with. It has a bit of a problem with sound overbleed. It's something we've talked about maybe a few years ago. So right now, I can hear the band singing Grease. I can hear a piano in Schooner Bar, and I can hear the music here in Boleros, and it all kind of bleeds into one mushy, not very clear, consistent sound. Does it bother me that much? No, not really, but it might bother people who are sensitive to sound. It isn't the most pleasant thing, and it is a bit weird. I personally would have liked all of these areas to be sort of cordoned off into individual bars, but at the same time, it really is nice how open it is and how lovely it is. You can see into all of the different venues, which is kind of cool. So it isn't a massive problem for me, but it is noisy here. It is a very noisy space. It's the hub of activity. There's lots going on here, always having live performers, shows, parties, silent discos. So if you're not into that sort of thing, this ship definitely isn't for you. Should we go have a quick look at some of the quieter areas on board? Because a lot of people were complaining that there was nowhere quiet and relaxing to go and chill out, but I think they're wrong. Let's go. Talking about noise, guess who we just bumped into in the elevator? The roaming piano man. So much fun. Do you know, after about 15 or 20 Royal Caribbean cruises, that's a first for us. We've actually hit the piano jackpot.
We've came out to our tranquil hotspot, our oasis of calm, the Central Park, just to show you that there is spaces on board if you do want to get away from the people, if you want somewhere a little bit quieter. We personally like Central Park. It's always a great spot to come to. During the day as well, it's genuinely quite quiet. The places that are not open during the day, you can still just lounge around in them and enjoy. Like we're going past Lou's at the moment. That's open on an evening, but during the day there's nothing going on, so it's always a lot quieter in there. So there is spots when you know where to find them, and that's a top tip. Look for venues like bars and lounges during the day that tend to be quieter while everybody else is up and out on the pool.
On the subject of noise, we have to talk about the good noise as well, because there is plenty of good noise here on these big Icon class ships, because the entertainment is amazing. It's industry leading. We've cruised a lot, as you already know. We've seen so many different shows, so much crap, so much amazing stuff, and the stuff on Royal Caribbean, especially their new ships, is really out of this world. You've got Broadway and West End style shows here. It's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We've seen Back to the Future on Star of the Seas and The Wizard of Oz on Icon of the Seas, and they are just amazing. Full 16-piece orchestras with the most amazingly talented cast and musicians, live bands, live live performers, visiting acts, loads of stuff. You've got stuff going on in the music hall all of the time, so there's plenty of good noise on board as well. And the dueling pianos, so much fun, so great. So that's one thing you've got to keep in mind as well. Everything kind of balances itself out. Whilst there's bad noise, there's also plenty of good noise too, like me rabbiting on. So another place that we like to come and relax, which tends to be a little bit quieter. Now, there is a little bit of an asterisk by all of these things as well. Some of the quiet areas can get noisy. Sunset now, there's lots of people here, there's big parties. This is the busiest time I've seen it, but usually here in the Outlook, it is so lovely, so calm, so serene. You've got these beautiful windows, which are just huge. The scale of this place is insane, and it's a really nice place to come and relax and chill. You've got lots of comfortable seats and it is really lovely. But like I said, places can get noisy. It's all about picking the right places at the right time. Sometimes they also are rehearsing in the Aqua Theatre just next door, and that can get very noisy in here as well. But there are places you can find. This also goes for cabins as well. So if you want a quiet cabin, it's really easy. Just book your cabin away from any entertainment venue, any Lido deck. You want to be sandwiched in the middle with other cabins. So when you're picking your cabin location, take a look at the deck plans. This advice goes for all cruise ships. Make sure there's a deck full of cabins above you and a deck full of cabins below you and nothing else near. Recommend staying away from the elevator shafts and the lifts as well, so going a little bit inwards. And if you're in one of those cabins, it's going to be lovely and quiet and you're not going to be disturbed by anything else apart from the toilet flush. Everybody knows the sound of the toilet flush. Oh, there it is there. Somebody just went number 2.
Oh, Ben, I'm back. Sorry, I was in the loo.
Oh, it was you.
Ooh. And whilst we're talking about cabins, there is another complaint that we see a lot online, and this is about a controversial type of cabin that we're seeing creep onto other cruise lines. It's the infinite balcony cabins. You don't just get them on this ship, you see them on Celebrity and MSC cruises, and some people love them and some people hate them. The biggest complaint is that it's not really a balcony, and it does affect the room, because if you want to use it as a balcony, you have to lower the window, it lets all the heat in, and everybody in that cabin is going to get hot and sticky. So people tend to just have the window up all the time, and that is one of the biggest complaints. Now, on the plus side, you do have a bigger space. We like how it gives you a little bit more room in there, and also the fact that it gives you a giant window. So it's nice and bright, and it's great when you can look out onto the ocean. Personally, for us though, we do miss having a balcony. We miss being able to pop outside and just nip out there without having to deal with the window. And we like the fact that sometimes I want to sit outside and read a book and Ben wants to be inside in the AC. But there is regular balconies on this type of ship. So if you don't want those infinite balconies, or the infinite verandas as they call them, just take a look and avoid the word infinite, and then you'll end up in a regular balcony cabin.
So next up we have the complaints about elevators or the lifts. Sorry guys, we have a big audience all around the world. Some people don't know what lifts are, some people don't know what elevators are, but here we are. And lots of people like to complain about them, and they are wrong. I can debunk this one immediately. The elevator system here on the Icon class of ships is bloomin' fantastic. We are so lucky that we get to cruise so much, and we've seen so many iterations of different elevators, and these are fabulous. Basically, there's 2 very large banks of elevators on board at the front and the back, and they either have 12 or 10 shafts. That word sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Shafts. But yeah, it's really easy. All you do is go up to one of the screens, and what's great as well, those with disabilities, there's different options as well. So if you have hearing impairments, visual impairments, there's buttons for that as well, which is really good. All you do is basically, as I say, finger the screen. You touch the screen in a very lovely way on the deck that you want to go to, and basically it will assign you an elevator. It's a big ship, lots of decks, 20 decks, 10,000 people. Yes, sometimes you have to wait a few moments, but it's never anything bad. And we've never got to the point where we haven't been able to get in an elevator, because I think it very sensibly distributes the loads of the people, so you're never too crammed. It really does work. If all that fails and you're able to, you can take the stairs as well, but that is a workout. But after all of the cake, all of the cookies that you're going to be eating, it's definitely a must. But yeah, it's great. It's one thing that we really like. So those people are very, very wrong in my opinion. But again, it's just my opinion.
A lot of the complaints say that it's very hard to navigate, it's really confusing, and you're constantly getting lost on the ship. It's a terrible layout. I have to disagree with that massively. We've been on so many ships. We've been on ships that are much smaller than this and have a terrible layout where after 7 days, we're still getting lost. The first day, yes, it does take a little time to get used to it, but it kind of feels natural. Everything feels like where it should be. And there is so much signage all around the ship. We have never ever had an issue with the layout. Finding your cabin on the first day can be hard and confusing. We always struggle with that. But once you found your cabin, you do kind of remember where it is all the time. So we don't think there's any problems with the layout. We think it's a well laid out ship. It flows very, very well, and we don't have any issues with that at all.
I completely agree. Lots of ships have dead ends, decks that go to nowhere. And yet you do start discovering things you've never seen before on day 6, just because it's a gigantic ship. Again, use your app. There's so much information everywhere. You will not get lost because it is very sectional and very well designed. In fact, we're talking to somebody the other day who was saying that they used big programs to see and track people's movements on cruise ships, to see what people do, where they go, where they gravitate to. And here on the Royal Promenade, it's kind of the central part and the hub of the ship, and everything kind of goes out from here. But yeah, we've had no problems on the ship. So I don't know if these people just haven't cruised much, but this one really isn't a problem. I kind of know exactly where everything is after a few minutes. It's just finding your cabin sometimes, like David said, can be a pain at first, but you get lost on every type of cruise ship, and this one's good. So yeah, is it an expensive cruise? Yeah, because you are paying a premium because this is a brand new cruise ship, and somebody's got to pay that 16-piece orchestra and all of the entertainment you're going to see on board. So they do tend to be a little bit more expensive than older ships. So you've got a few options. You can splurge out and spend a little bit more money to be on one of the first ships, or wait a little while, maybe book the Icon of the Seas, which is a little bit older now, probably a little bit cheaper as well, but you do get so much more included. Now, there are things that you can buy on board. You can do specialty dining, you can do drinks, you can do excursions, but they are all optional. You don't have to do any of those things. That's completely up to you. So if you are on a budget, there are still so many places to eat, to drink. There's free drinks all around, teas, coffees, juices, water, in multiple spots all the way around the ship. You can do DIY excursions. We use companies like Shore Excursions Group and Klook to do things cheaper in port as well. We have links in the description section below, and they've saved us a fortune in the past. So it is all up to you. Do I think it's worth it? I kind of do, because there's nothing else like it, but there's no denying that it is an expensive thing to do. It really is. But I think the people moaning about that, they have other options. They don't have to come on the brand new ships. There's plenty of good deals on the Oasis class ships, older Royal Caribbean ships. So if you are more on a budget, there's plenty of ships in the fleet. There really is. So there's something for everybody, really.
Reservations are opening in 3, 2, 1. May the odds be ever in your favor, and book. Oh, I didn't get it. Damn it. Is it a Hunger Games situation when you're trying to book stuff on the cruise, and are you constantly tied to the app? Yes, we have touched upon this all the way through this video, but you do need the app, and you do have to use it basically for everything. That's the same now with everywhere, really. If you go to Walt Disney World or a theme park, you're using the app all the time, and it can feel like at times you're just constantly on your phone, checking stuff, checking when things are on. Of course, that brings benefits though as well, because you don't have to carry around a paper planner. You can actually do a lot of things like getting your bill from the app, so you don't have to visit guest services. So while it is a hindrance in some times, it can be a help.
Oh, I'm tired. Did we say it was a big ship? I think we did. Anyway, my last one. This is a bit more of a different one, because it's not really about complaints. It's about the bloomin' media. The media, I think, have this thing against cruise ships. So we're constantly seeing floating Petri dish at sea, thousands go down being ill and sick, disaster on board, outbreak at sea. It's not like that, guys. We've cruised 100 times now. The last time I was sick on a cruise ship, 2015, where I had a tummy bug. I did get something, probably norovirus or something like that. But we're humans. Sickness is everywhere. And it's not just cruise ships. The thing about cruise ships that's a bit different to, say, like all-inclusive resorts, flights, other places where people get together, like stadiums and music events, is that crews have to report it. So when they do get sickness on board, they are required by law to report it. So that's why you hear about it so much more. You don't hear about big outbreaks in all-inclusive resorts, in bars, in restaurants, because those people disperse and go different places. But Sickness is everywhere, and like I said, we're human. It's going to happen everywhere in the world. Generally, cruise ships, especially Royal Caribbean, are some of the cleanest cruise ships we've been on before. We've had dusty cabins before, but the actual cleanliness of the food and stuff is really good. And it's just so important that you take care of yourself as well, because some of it is down to us. Washing your hands before eating and touching things, taking hand sanitizer. Yep, it doesn't kill everything, but it does stop a lot of things from happening. And just general being healthy and considerate of other people. Now, some other people are awful. We've seen such bad manners on cruises. People picking up food. We've seen that everywhere. So it's just one of those things, but I do feel like the cruise gets really unfairly treated by the media a lot of time, and it just simply isn't true. These are not floating Petri dishes. Look, cruise definitely isn't for everybody, but it is for us and a lot of other people like you guys, and we really enjoy it. So you don't have to get sick. You can take things into your own hands and be very careful and clean. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. We have to say a big thank you to our patrons as well, who really help us to make these videos and hopefully bring you a little bit of joy. And in return for becoming a patron, we give you lots, like videos that nobody else gets to see, early access and ad-free access to our videos, as well as a monthly video chat and much, much more. You can find out about becoming a patron in the description section below. Now click on the screen right now to see something a little bit similar. So that's it till next time. Happy cruising!